Good evening. You are locked in live, and I'm Algenon Cash. I hope everyone is having a great day. I tell you, it's been a really interesting news day for me here today. I really had a interesting segment already planned out for you. I was going to talk to you tonight about what's going on with election 2020, as well as what's happening in regards to voter enthusiasm and registrations and how many ballots have been cast and some of the senators that are distancing themselves from Trump. I had my whole segment planned out until I saw the update in news from former GOP National Chairman Michael Steele has endorsed Joe Biden. And, I put a post up this evening or this afternoon on my page that was actually quoting the endorsement from Michael Steele. I think some of you may have actually confused that and thought those were my words. I would encourage you to go back and actually read the op-ed that Chairman Steele wrote. Those are his words, not my own. But I will tell you that his words caused me to pause. And, for someone like myself who has been a conservative, and I'm always mentioning a black conservative because I think that matters, and I've been this way for 20-something years. There's probably 3 black conservatives living that have actually had a huge influence and impact on my life, and that would be Colin Powell, Condoleezza Rice, and Michael Steele, in that order. And we've reached a point in this election cycle now where 2 out of the 3 most well-respected black conservatives in my life are actually supporting Donald Trump. And so I will tell you that the endorsement certainly caused me to pause. It caused me to reflect and think more about what has happened the last 4 years. And I'm sure similar to a lot of my conservative friends out there, I don't disagree that the policies in this administration have been terrible. I actually think there's some positive things that this administration has done, whether it be tax cuts or some of the easing of regulations on certain companies. And I'm not even someone who believes that their COVID-19 response has been as disastrous as many people like to frame. But I will tell you that as time has progressed and prolonged, it grows increasingly difficult to separate the policies of this administration from the person who leads this administration. And I think the rhetoric and the tone out of the White House has made it so that many of us, including Chairman Steele and to some degree even myself, just feel like this White House right now is void of leadership. And I do think it's incumbent upon Chairman Steele and General Powell and people like myself and many others to put a light on that. We are living right now in a country where, on one hand, President Trump is endorsing or promoting the idea that his political opponents should be arrested and jailed. And on the opposite side, his opponent, former Vice President Joe Biden, is actually trying to recruit his political opponents to serve in his administration. Today there was a report that came out that talked about Joe Biden actually reaching out to conservatives, John Kasich, obviously people like Michael Steele and many others, and trying to create space within his cabinet because he feels like one of the things he has to do is actually unite this country when all this is said and done. And so this creates a very interesting comparison, I guess you could say, between the current president and his opponent. And I would be remiss not to say that it certainly has caused me to pause and reflect and have to do a lot of thinking. And it certainly makes this decision that I have to make even much harder. I have purposely not voted yet this cycle because I'm being very honest when I tell you all day to day that I've been undecided about who I want to support. And so I've been putting it off. But I tell you, after reading the op-ed by Michael Steele, it certainly compels you in one direction. But I do want to say this, that no matter what happens in November, the Republican Party is going to have to find itself. We have literally split off into probably 3 different factions. And you do have more of the what I guess now is called the establishment Republicans, like a Michael Steele, a Mitt Romney, a Colin Powell, several others who certainly feel alienated. And then you have this growing faction that President Trump has been able to bring in that really doesn't have a conservative tone, but more of a populist tone. And no matter what happens in November, no matter who wins, I really do predict that we could potentially see a splintering of the entire Republican Party as a result of some of the division that has been sown. The other flip side of that is, even if Trump wins, even if he loses in November, this is a person that I don't believe is going to go anywhere. Donald Trump has nearly 90 million people following him on Twitter. And despite what happens on November 3rd, I think he will continue to tweet. He will continue to talk. And I think his rhetoric will continue to do damage, not just within the party, but within the country itself. And so we are really, really at a crossroads here. And as I stated, all of this is happening at a time where Vice President Biden is really trying to focus on unity and extending a olive branch to the GOP to serve in his administration, and doing so at the risk of even alienating many of the progressives in the far left wing of the Democratic Party, which should certainly stand out to a lot of people, and certainly, in my opinion, as a clear demonstration of the leadership on behalf of Biden. So if you have not read the op-ed from Michael Steele, I would encourage you to go to Locked In with Algenon Cash, go to the page, check it out, read that op-ed. It's extremely powerful. And as I stated earlier in this year, General Powell has also did the same thing. So I don't know. I've got some praying to do. I've still got a really big decision that I've got to make. My mentor and friend Michael Steele has certainly made that decision much harder for me to make at this point in time. And so I ask for all of you all to not only pray for me, but pray for many of us out here that have a tough decision to make in this election cycle, and certainly, pray for our country. Before I close out, I do want to say one thing. I am someone who constantly tells you that you need to vote your own conscience, and you need to vote based on your own personal belief, and you need to vote based on your own convictions. And I'm not saying tonight that I no longer believe in that, because I do think that ultimately that's what you have to do. But I will also tell you tonight, the conflict that I have is that there does become a point in time where all of us, especially those of us that are considered to be leaders, we've got to make a tough decision on whether or not we do what's best for ourselves, or we do what's best for all of us. Y'all stay locked in.